It's time once again for another thrilling episode of Markout Radio. For the next hour, sit back, pull the stick out of your ass, and enjoy. Be warned though, smarks and internet know-it-alls will be offended, annoyed, and generally pissed off at what's about to happen to your ear holes. You've been warned. Now, Markout Radio.
That's right. It's your boy Dark Fox coming back again for another episode. Markout Radio Goes Nitro. Episode 9, October 30th, 1995. Hara Arena, Dayton, Ohio. Hosted as always by Eric Bischoff, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Steve. God help me, Mongo McMichael. Dark matches this week. The American Males versus... Are you gonna queue it up again? Alright. Whatever. I don't even want to fight you on it if I'm honest. This got us flagged last time. Can you turn it down? Thank you. Alright, we'll kill the Nitro theme anyway so that you can hear that. But, no, seriously, I had to... No, dickhead. Like, I know you're not involved in this shit. Like, you're just here to work the fucking board and stuff. But, like, last time I had to go and deal with fucking YouTube and shit. Because apparently American Males... Now, the Nitro's theme, ironically enough, is not covered. But the American Males theme is. So let's just... Well, at least fade it out so it sounds good. Thank you. Jesus. You get the help you pay for, I suppose. All right, so, yeah, we're back. Monday Nitro and Dark Matches. American Males, Marcus Alexander Bagwell and Scotty Riggs go over on Harlem Heat. Booker T and Stevie Ray with Sister Sherry in their corner. But they won via DQ. So no title changing hands yet. But don't worry. You will get another fix of the American Males later on in the show. Spoiler alert. All right, next dark match was Paul Orndorff defeating Mr. JL, also standing for Jerry Lynn. I still don't understand why the fuck they didn't use his actual name. There must have been some sort of, like, beef going on with ECW, maybe? I don't know. How would you hold the copyright to his ring name? Whatever. Doesn't matter. All right, so we're recapping Halloween Havoc, and the dog is dressed as a witch/bat thing, while Bischoff keeps selling that the footage of Hogan getting destroyed is on its way. You know, like it's not the production truck, it's being delivered by Pony Express. Speaking of the production truck, way to make sure that Mongo's mic is hot before he starts talking. Good job. Well done. What? There's a guy at ringside rocking a Hogan cosplay. Pretty funny, actually. He's complete with a handlebar mustache and poses throughout the night anytime the camera's on him. First match of the night, Eddie Guerrero defeats Sergeant Craig Pittman in 7:31. I gave the match 2 out of 5. Originally, this was booked for Savage versus Guerrero, but Macho's elbow was legit acting up again. So, well, see, here's the thing. It was legit acting up, and yet they felt compelled to comment on Savage being replaced by Pittman without actually saying why he was being replaced by Pittman. So there are some, depending on what you're reading, depending on what dirt sheet you're going to read, there were some accusations that Macho didn't want to job Eddie Guerrero. Fair enough.
Your ego is more obnoxious than your name.
So the start of the match was plugging the World War III pay-per-view. That's fine. We're plugging an upcoming pay-per-view. Otherwise, it's pretty much a basic match used to put Guerrero over and hard calling his victory an upset. No. It's okay. It's okay. Don't update the actual talking points when you replace a main eventer with a gimmick-heavy ham and egger. Just keep calling it a fucking upset. Jesus Christ. After that, we got Scott Norton versus Shark, ending in a double countout. They battled to the back. That was in 6:14. I give that one 2.5 out of 5. It's a solid mid-card program going on here. The pre-match discussion has some archive footage with some opinions by the announcers. All decent stuff. Until we get to the actual match, at which point Bischoff gets very creepy and extraordinarily homosexual because he starts commenting on all the meat and the beef in the ring. Like, so much so that Mongo isn't going along with it and Bobby the Brain isn't going along with it anymore. Because last night at the Halloween Havoc pay-per-view, this is what he was doing. All night, especially I feel like this is going to become a reoccurring issue. Like, for example, when World War III comes up and we've got 60-man Battle Royal, 3 rings, 20 men in every ring, you're guaranteed to hear some beef and meat talk in there. And it's a direct ripoff of Vince McMahon, by the way, because this is some goofy shit that he does too. So, but we're not at war yet. Just pump your brakes. We're not at war yet. At least according to Bischoff's book and his 83 Weeks podcast. John Tenta's best days are way behind him, but despite this lame-ass shark gimmick being garbage, he's still able to go out there, and Norton did an excellent job of making him look like 80s Earthquake again. Norton went on to have a huge career in Japan, but WCW struggled with how to use him properly. The best really they did for him is make him an enforcer gimmick within the NWO. Over in Japan, though, he was one of the leaders. Eventually dropped the NWO branding and was just a legit badass champ for years and years. Speaking of Japan, during the match, the cameras find Heenan talking with Sonny Ono up with a big sushi bar with some hot broads behind them. Ono passes Heenan an envelope of cash. Last night on Halloween Havoc, Shivani quipped that Heenan's breath smelled a little like sushi. But tonight, Brain is pretending to eat while tossing rice rolls away. Whatever. After this, Shivani recaps the new Four Horsemen. Well, the new 3 Horsemen. Sting swerve from last night before introducing the Horsemen, coming out to Flair's music. They get a pretty good reaction from the live crowd. Pillman is still rocking an ill-fitting button-down shirt with roughly cut-off sleeves. Takeaways from this promo for me: Flair can still work a fucking mic like a champ. Arn knows how to work those goddamn camera angles. He always seemed to know where the live mic was and like would turn slightly, kind of like how the camera is on me right now. Just turn slightly and like talk to the camera with the finger point. See, clearly I'm not good at it. Anyways, Pillman does a very good job of being the unhinged young buck. After this, WCW Saturday Night promo. Afterwards, we got Sabu defeating Disco Inferno in 2 minutes 36. I gave that 1.5 out of 5. Now, bear with me. I will explain why. So, just to recap the match itself. During Sabu's entrance, Bischoff promotes next week's Interactive Nitro. And next week's Interactive Nitro was originally billed as the fans choose the matches. And the phone lines opened during this episode of Nitro for the fans to begin calling to then choose what the matches are going to be next week. What actually happened was that 24 people called in, generating a grand total income of $23.76 before taxes and anything else going on there. So it was a complete and total failure. They tried it a few more times. They even tried it with a live pay-per-view once. It ultimately did not work and never would work. It didn't even work in the WWE when they tried the the Taboo Tuesday, I believe they had that gimmick going there. It's never really worked. Now, that being said, it would probably work better today than it did back then because you've got the advent of Twitter, but there's not really a way to monetize it. Like, there's a lot of different companies that try to monetize calling in and bidding or voting for something, like, you know, like American Idol, for example. The UK's version of Big Brother and Celebrity Big Brother do this very successfully. But in whenever they try to do it for other kinds of shows like wrestling, or when they try to do it for the American or Canadian versions of Big Brother, it always seems to fall on its face when they're trying to monetize it. If they just leave it on Twitter and make it free, they get a lot of interaction. But if they try to charge you texting rates of 15 cents or whatever the fuck, it never seems to work. No one actually wants to pay to vote for something, and yet for some strange reason American Idol seems to defy this, and Big Brother in the UK seems to defy this. So whatever. Back to the match here. Disco finally gets to wrestle as well as dance. Well, kind of. Because during this match, every time Sabu missed a worked punch or a worked kick, he would get angry and legit punch or kick Inferno. Like it's somehow his fault that Sabu is botching moves. Not to be outdone, though, Disco does do a few poses to try to get some heat. Sabu got a decent amount of pops for some of the things that he was doing, especially when he did his finisher, the little moonsault dealie off the springboard on the top rope. Post-match, no one can understand why, Sabu grabs an unworked table, like a legit actual table, brings it out to ringside, lays Disco Inferno out on it, and then does his top rope moonsault thingy again, except this time, instead of landing on his stomach, he lands on his back, and the table didn't break. And the cameras unfortunately panned to a little fat kid that's like right at ringside, howling and trolling the shit out of Sabu. Just based on that part in its entirety, the match lost an entire fucking point. Up until that point, it was like a solid match. Like, it was just, you're expecting what you get a little bit of heat, you get a little pop, but like doing an unworked table spot and expecting the table to actually break, and then it doesn't break, and then you get pissy and start, legit stiffing some guy because you can't throw a worked shot anymore. Like, it got very messy, very weird. Now, Sabu did not stay in the WCW very long, and these matches are why. Now, they put him on the air on Monday Nitro because of all the violence and high spots and shit. And then when they did, you end up with this kind of botchy bullshit. So I can understand why he wasn't long for the world in the WCW. Did much, much better in ECW, and even did better than this in the WWE, where they actually sort of knew how to use him, I guess. I mean, they did have a hardcore division that he was in for a little while. So I think mostly just is the death matches and shit.
You are a big mark.
Yes, I am. All right. After that, you got the main event, which is Lex Luger and Ming with Jimmy Hart and the Taskmaster at ringside defeating the American Males. No, don't give me the theme song again. I want to hear it again. We're going to get flagged as it is. Just stop it. That one was actually a decent length match. 8:48. I gave that one 2.5 out of 5. Brain quips that the males work in a department store spraying people with cologne. I'm not quite sure what the burn was here. Maybe it was a double burn. I don't know. But is the burn that they work in a department store, or is it a burn that worked with cologne? I'm not quite sure what was going on, but it absolutely derailed him for the rest of the match. It was almost like he had a seizure. Nothing he said was making sense, and it was almost as if Bischoff and Mongo were enjoying the fact that they could just constantly just troll the shit out of him. Whatever, man. It just sucks when your jokes fall flat and then you lose your train of thought. I mean, I would have thought Brain had been at this long enough that he could just roll with it a little bit better than that. The American Males are back after having a dark match. Of course, we discussed. They didn't get the straps. Bischoff tries to explain some of the red-blue locker room shenanigans for next week's show. Bagwell gets a fairly good pop for the hot tag. Definitely over with the lady fans. Maybe someday he could be a gigolo. Wait, what? What? Oh. He is? Fucking with you. All right. Luger throws on the torture rack out of nowhere, and Bagwell taps out. Now, this finisher actually sucks for an out of nowhere type thing, because it's really hard to tap out in the torture rack. Like, when he's got the guy up in the torture rack and he's bouncing up and down on him, the guy either taps on his head to tap out, because that's where this free arm is, or he's got a tap on his back, which the ref's not anywhere near there. So it just sucks for an actual tap out finisher, but whatever. It looks cool, so that's always good. After the break, Mongo sprays Heenan with some silly string because Heenan didn't have any candy for a stupid fucking dog. Apparently this was improvised, and Bischoff was pissed about it. He sort of hit it on the air, but gave him a little passive aggressive heat for it. The video that was teased all night long plays. They didn't actually plug a Tuesday replay, so there was no real harm done here. I mean, other than seeing the Yeti again. But apparently, just doing some research on this, they didn't actually get approval to do a rebroadcast of the pay-per-view from the cable companies. And they kept trying to make it happen. So all night long, they kept teasing the footage, and they had backup stills just in case if it didn't get approved. So it's a pretty smart way of handling it. Despite not winning the title, Shivani points out when the Giant and Kevin Sullivan then come down to the ring. Records show that he was the winner, but Shivani points out that he didn't actually win. There was a DQ, and Giant's going to be a quote-unquote fighting champion. Anyways, that'll all be clarified next week with some other shenanigans. Backstage, they had to get the belt off of Hogan so he could finish up shooting 3 different movies, and he actually refused the job to Savage. So this is how they decided to handle that. Now, all of that being said, the whole show got 2 out of 5. The pay-per-view itself did a gate of $138,040 and 145,000 pay-per-view buys. Not bad. 7,000 people, so that's not bad at all. All right, till next episode, we're out of here.
Well, that was an abortion of a show. Should the mood take